Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. March 7th, Emperor Constantine I. Of all the emperors Rome ever had, only Constantine I was called the Great. He unified and strengthened the empire, built a new capital, and was the first Christian emperor of Rome. He gave Christianity the social and political respectability it had previously lacked. On this date, in 321, Constantine decreed that throughout the Roman Empire, Sunday would be a day of rest. Not everyone was pleased with Constantine at the helm, and trouble followed. Today's story is about one of those troubles.
When a man relies on his own strength, he can lose hope. When a man relies on God's strength, he becomes victorious. The news was not good. Constantine prepared to invade Italy and to take over the Western Roman Empire. But he had learned that his enemy, Maxentius, had him vastly outnumbered. Worse, Maxentius had been using sorcery and divination to win the favor of the Roman gods. Going into battle was difficult enough, but having all the gods of Rome against him too, what chance did he have? He was battling heaven and earth. Maxentius was a cruel tyrant who murdered innocents on a whim. He had to be stopped. But with such a small army, Constantine didn't have the strength to win on his own. And as for the Roman gods, many generals before had sought the favor of their gods. They had all met with a terrible end, with their so-called gods nowhere in sight. But Constantine remembered his parents. His father, despite being high up in the Roman hierarchy, didn't worship the gods his friends did. In fact, he only worshiped one, the God of the Christians. But Christians were always being persecuted in the empire. Could the Christian God help him? Was this God more powerful than the gods of Rome? Constantine prayed to see if the Christian God would reveal himself and help with the battle to come. As Constantine was praying and the sun was beginning to lower during the midday, he suddenly saw a vision of what looked like a cross of light in the sky. And just above the sun, there written were the words, "Conquer by this." Constantine was awestruck. His army suddenly stopped their work and saw the same thing. This was a miracle, and he wondered what the miracle meant. That night, Constantine had a dream, and he saw Christ. In the dream, the exact same sign he had seen earlier now stood beside the God he had prayed to. Christ told Constantine to make a banner like the sign he had shown him in the vision, and that he was to use it during his battles for protection. When Constantine awoke at dawn, he immediately set out to work. He would join the Christian God and seek his protection, despite the persecutions that had threatened the Christians for centuries. Constantine described the dream and the vision he had to some men. Then he ordered them to make a banner, just as God had told him in his dream. This banner was given the name Labrum, and on it was a spear with a crown decorated in gold and precious stones. On the crown were symbols representing the name of Christ. But the banner was not enough. Constantine wanted to know who God was before he went into battle. So he asked whoever he could about Christ and wanted to know more about who he is. He decided to join the Christians and made priests his counselors. After all of this, he was ready for battle, and despite the odds against him, he went on to defeat Maxentius and become the first Christian emperor of Rome. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 31. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. We all face battles in our lives. Do you have everything you need for facing overwhelming odds? When a man relies on his own strength, he can lose hope. When a man relies on God's strength, he becomes victorious.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." Join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.